Good afternoon, handy viewers and handy listeners, such as you are. We have had another Navigator spoiler, and me and my good friend, once more, Mr. Connor Rooney. Say hello, Connor.
Hello!
It's the same way every time. I'm going to zip through this new card that we have seen for the Seagull. Seagull, Connor.
It's
Seagull.
definitely an
It's a
albatross.
seagull, mate, I'm telling you. So, yes, Wanda. Again, this will never be a card read, but where would you like to start?
Um, I think we should just go over the kind of general birdness of this card.
All right.
Because it has a lot in common with Frelsey, the Falconer's mascot.
Mm-hmm.
He's a 5'10 instead of a 5'9 that Frelsey is, and that I believe 8'10 that Dirge is.
Yeah.
Which actually puts it below average in my mind as a mascot walking, because I always think 6'8 is kind of the average mascot
Yeah,
stats.
I'll take that.
So most of the time you won't be giving it a mascot influence to sprint. So 5 inches is not great, but when you do need to get the 10-inch sprint, it's very good.
I suppose you could be a
Um,
12-inch sprint with full speed ahead for free if you really wanted to use that.
well, yeah, we'll get to that.
Okay, okay.
I have a thought on that, but
Ooh,
kick 1-4 is pretty bad. I
yeah.
believe that is the worst kick stat in the game.
Yes,
With
Reed
rerolls,
confirms.
that's a 2-4, which is still
Yeah,
not great, to be honest.
I mean, it's better than Greed, or
Yeah, it's worse than Frelsey though.
Yep, yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and 4-0, 9 health is below average for a mascot, I would say.
You know what? That's nice to see. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
After like Frelsey and Pride and things like that, that's actually quite nice to see that those things are aberrants. They're not the trend. So I
yeah, I
get where
was
you're
wondering
coming
about
from,
that
but
actually.
yeah, but that's very
Not
very killable.
crazy low.
No, it's not like the six that's on Scum or Farhad.
Yeah. And then 1-2 influence, which is a
Yeah.
stat I really hate to see,
Mm.
because it means you can't charge shoot, which, although it will probably not happen often, is kind of something that might occasionally happen. That'll be a bummer when you can't do it.
Except you can
Yes, we'll
because
get
you've
to
got a
that.
Windfinder. Okay, okay.
So just sticking to the general birdness, unsurprisingly, we have flying,
Yeah.
and we have the guild rule for rerolls, which actually makes the TAC 3
Yeah.
pretty legit for a
Yeah.
mascot.
I was going to say like the momentous dodge on two. That doesn't seem an unreasonable source of momentum generation in a guild that you and I have often commented looked like they may struggle with momentum generation.
Yeah, so I don't think you want to be attacking a 4-1,
No,
or obviously not anyone with 2 armor, but
no.
against 3-1 models or models without armor,
Yeah.
you can hit that pretty decently if you
Yeah.
need some momentum, or just to tackle the ball and kick it away, potentially.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Um, I mean, I don't think you often give this mascot 2 influence, but we'll get to that. So the two big, it's a pretty simple mascot.
Yeah.
And there's kind of just two key things on the card in my mind.
And that's fine for a
One
mascot.
is the reverse loved creature,
Yes.
about their necks, which is obviously a reference that proves that this is finally an albatross. And yeah, so it's reverse loved creature. It's -1 tack for the enemy for the remainder of the turn,
I
which
like
I
that.
actually think is significantly better than loved
I
creature.
agree. I agree. I really, really like
Especially
that.
for teams like Fisherman, where the tack bonus I find was never that big a deal with Salt. You just
100%.
hit the momentous dodge slightly more reliably.
It's like
It obviously
all
would have
you,
been way bigger in this faction.
yeah.
Which is, but -1 tack will sometimes be irrelevant when like fillets coming into you. But if
Hmm.
you've got, say, where it's really gonna hurt is if the bird has the ball and someone misses their tackle and has to take the 1 damage result and then
Yeah.
can't get the ball because they're -1 tack.
Well, what really sort of makes it stand out for me is let's say for example I'm playing you, and you've got your standard shark lineup, and I hit Salt for whatever reason.
Hmm.
Um, the 6 influence on shark that you've inevitably done and gone first with isn't
Yep.
going to benefit from loved creature. And then the 3 influence on Siren that you're going to use to seduce me isn't going to benefit from Love Creature. So that's 9 influence gone. And I know I'm sort of making up an ideal situation, but really, that Love Creature is only going to impact 4 influence. Like
Yeah.
that feels about right. About their next, if I'm playing Butchers, is going to impact each and every single influence I put on the board potentially. If I'm playing
Yes.
Brewers, it's going to impact 9 out of the 13 influence that I put down. If I'm playing Blacksmiths or whatever it is I'm playing, about their next is going to impact more than the benefits I would gain from Love Creature, if I'm making myself clear.
Yes. And what's interesting is this was brought up in the Guild Ball Zone Discord,
Okay,
with someone mentioning the fact that playing Horizon makes the mascot kill way more worth the effort.
100%. Especially
And I
if I can
basically said with
sweeping
someone like
charge and take them both
Tentacles,
out. Ah,
yeah. But what's great about Wander is if they do go to do that, they do get punished for it.
yeah. So even like an intensify coming off Big Cat is go because it's just damage, or it's not direct damage. It's not anything like that, or
And
chemical shower
I,
from smoke. You know,
yeah,
it's oh no, not chemical shower because that's oh no, it's play, not character play. Yeah, it's horrible.
and I don't
Really good.
know if you noticed the other big difference between this and Loved Creature, and we haven't seen any season 4 Loved Creature, so this might not be a difference in season 4.
Mm,
Loved Creature doesn't work on parting blows. About their
very
next
true.
does.
Very true. So I imagine
So
you, as well as I know you, are going to spend a lot of time putting Wander next to people and then next turn wandering away,
yeah,
just in a desperate attempt to get that triggered.
exactly, and just waiting for people to declare a parting blow without thinking about it.
Yep, 100%.
But we've kind of buried the lead here. There's a very clear purpose for this mascot, which, although it can generate momentum and can move quickly,
Mm,
the one character play on this model is definitely its defining feature,
yep,
and that is Guide, which has a 4-inch range, which is kind of a pain, and it lets a target-friendly model make a 4-inch dodge towards this model, which
yeah,
is kind of like a mini Hag Legendary turn, where I'll often turn 1 in Shark be Hag will dodge someone 2, then Legendary to dodge them another 2, and you've got a mascot who can kind of do that.
yep,
Now, it's a lot less flexible, because you have to be within 4 of them, and they have to make the dodge 4 inches towards you, which, as I always find the towards versus directly towards a bit uh, frustrating to measure, but
yeah,
the setup you can get from this on turn 1 is really helpful, but you can also later pull people back.
hmm
So
yes,
I think Wander is basically always going to have 1 influence
yep,
on, unless you desperately can't afford it,
hmm
because the repositioning you get from a 4-inch dodge out of activation is pretty incredible.
yep. Particularly when we've seen, Wave Runner has a 4-inch dodge, Horizon has a 5-inch dodge. Windrunner has a legendary that can give out 4-inch dodges. So, as someone who plays a more melee focused team, and particularly a play style which largely focuses around bullying people into a coffin, I like to form a scrum. I like you to be in place where my scrum is. I like you to have been knocked down, preferably, and then I'm going to put you in a box and you're going to cry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Navigators, I may have to leave Casket at home because I can't guarantee where they'll be on not their activation, if that makes sense. Um,
Yes.
it's I can't I just don't like, even if I do as much as possible to control you, if your mascot can come in and pull you out 4 inches,
Yep.
then there's like, no, that's not fair.
And it's not directly towards, so you can
Yeah.
dodge around people.
And it's a dodge, not a push, so it doesn't have to be linear.
Yeah, so
Um,
the this is going to be one that'll take a lot of practice, for
yep.
someone who's not used to it, which includes me, because fish don't really have any
Yeah. You're all
move
in
towards
activation. Yeah.
effects,
Apart from, well,
outside of enemy ones.
Jack and get over assault, but that's about.
Yeah, that's true. But
But I know
I
you're not a
tend,
big Jack guy.
yeah. Yeah, I don't play a ton of Jack and Salt, but two situations that come to mind
Hmm.
where I think this is going to be really useful, and both are turn one because, as we've said on previous episodes, it's kind of hard to judge the mid-game board
Yep.
situation on a podcast. But one thing I really like about Horizon is since he's worth one VP, he's a very good disruption piece. So if
Yep.
you need a bit more air to set up your turn one goal run when receiving, you can just charge the kickoff model with Horizon.
Yep.
And if they don't immediately just go and kill Horizon, you can then just pull them 4 inches back with Wander.
Hmm.
Which I mean, most things that you kick off with will still threat him, but it does make it a bit more of a pain.
Yeah.
And the other thing, and this is actually where I think, because I think Navigators struggle a bit in the mid game because of their momentum generation issues. So you really want to have a strong turn one, much like blacksmiths rely on a strong turn one to set a
Yeah.
good pace. And what you can do, and this is kind of my general kickoff thought so far, going with the models we have. So your six is Wander, Windfinder, Angel, Siren, Fathom, and Horizon.
Nice.
So you kick off with Siren. She walks 7 inches up the board. You have 3 influence on her. You put
Hmm.
3 influence on the captain. You
Yep.
put 4 influence on Fathom, and then depending on the board state, 2 or 1 on Wander, depending if you need to sprint him or walk him.
Yep.
So what you do is you put the captain goes sprints forward just for positioning for next turn, and then puts the charge buff onto Siren. So now Siren can charge for free, has a 13-inch charge threat.
Yeah.
Then Wander goes, walks up, pulls Fathom 4 inches forward into cover.
Mm.
Now, because in season 4, which is when you'll be playing these guys realistically, Fathom starts in cover, 4 inches up the board, can take a 4 inch dodge, and then charge someone 10 inches away.
Yep.
So you've basically got two kickoff pressure models that can pressure the ball turn one, which means you've got about 7 influence live plus the 3 you've spent to get them there. So there's not much dead momentum there. It's not quite as strong as the alloy kickoff ferrite legendary pull iron up turn one that blacksmiths
Yeah.
have, but it's still a pretty darn
It's good.
strong turn one.
And I mean, and it's being enabled by a mascot.
Exactly. So there's a lot of it also, the other thing is when receiving against really oppressive kickoff pressure like Obulus,
Yep.
you can pull someone so far up the side of the pitch by pass dodging them forward and having Wander pull them forward and giving them +2 move that they can probably get halfway up the pitch and just score from there while out of threat range.
Boo. Is what I say to that. Perfect. Connor, any closing thoughts on Wanda?
um, Yeah, I don't think Wander is a mascot that defines the team like, say, Frelsey does in Falconers or I'm trying to think of any other ones, but I think Wander's a solid mascot,
Yeah.
which has a clear role,
Yeah.
and I mean it's hard to say no to a 10-inch sprint.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
10-inch
mean with
flying
ball
sprint as well.
recovery,
Yeah.
yeah, just 10-inch, as I've seen when playing Dirge, a lot of the time, a ball that you would be able to just leave there, you can't
Yeah.
because Dirge can just fly 10 and kick it off the pitch.
Yep. 100%.
So I'm
I'm.
excited because Wander is really, really different from Tentacles and Salt.
Yeah.
Closer to Salt because of the speed, but
Yep.
Salt's really a striker. And Wander is more of a support piece that actually buffs your team rather than debuffs the enemy like Tentacles.
I'm genuinely surprised he's not a 40 millimeter base.
Yeah, I was astonished by that as well.
And I think
Very surprised.
being a 30 millimeter base really impacts the usefulness of guide. Um, and it obviously means that he's smaller, which clearly indicates that he's a seagull.
I think he's
S
just a young albatross finding his wings.
Perfect. Excellent, Connor. Thank you very much. We will leave it there. Only a short one this time, as it's only a mascot after all. Perfect. Thank you very much, folks. And whoever is next, I forget what it said at the bottom of the blog. I've not read it. We'll be back to talk about then and there. And until next time, as ever, I need a better outro.